So today I want to show you how we use our freeze dryer as a food processor. We found this to save us a lot of money, and it's very convenient for us. So it's very simple to take this out. Some people are a little hesitant to do it, but it's really not that hard. So you got to take the rubber ring off the outside of the freeze dryer. And then this rack is what holds your trays for your food. And you just slide this out. And I've found it works pretty good to just set it up on top, which then you don't have to hold it. So there's this little lock here that you need to pull down. And then you've got an additional lock that holds the connector together. And you push that down and then pull it out like that. You can see how there's this little latch there that holds it in. Just push that down and it comes out. After you lay that wire down, I made this board. It's just nothing really fancy. I beveled the edges a little bit so that it sits down in here. And you just slide that in there. And then, because of the height of it, you can put your regular quart-sized bottles in, or you can put a 2-quart bottle in there in the middle. Okay, so the next step after you got your board in your freeze dryer, you need to be able to use your vacuum pump separate from the actual freeze dryer. Normally you would have the freeze dryer plugged into the back of your vacuum pump plugged into the back of your freeze dryer. So you need to unplug that and plug it into a separate outlet so you can use the on and off switch on the pump separately. Now after we've done that, now you're ready to put some product in the freeze dryer and vacuum seal it. Now you can go ahead and load your product into the freeze dryer. Basically, you can vacuum seal just about anything. We've got some wheat here, and what I usually do is just loosen the ring on the lid just a little bit so that the lid will stay in place. But I'm not trying to hold the air in at this point. I just need the lid to stay in place. So I just loosen that a little bit and put it in. So as you can see, we got 14 bottles in there. There's 5 on each side and 4 in the middle. Okay, now with the bottles in there, we're ready to seal it up. So you need to put your ring back on. And I like to leave this out just a little bit. Don't push it all the way in tight. And that makes it easier for the door to seal on the ring. So once that's there, you just go ahead and shut it. And you can, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there's actually a line all the way around showing that the door is sealed. You always have to check your valve and make sure it's shut. And then we're ready to go ahead and vacuum seal those 14 bottles. Now, I don't have a gauge or anything to tell me how much vacuum is pulled on the freeze dryer. Mainly what I do is I just listen to the vacuum pump, and as I hear it struggling a little bit, I know that it's sucked as much air out of it as you can. So let me just turn it on and you can kind of listen and see what I'm talking about. You hear it changing, the pump, you can hear it changing a little bit on the sound. Yeah, I think that's plenty long enough. I didn't really time it, but you can hear the pump. It's struggling a little bit. That means it's sucked about as much air out of there as it can. So now all you need to do is shut it off. And then we need to open the valve and all the bottles should have all the air sucked out of them. Once you open the valve, that'll allow the air to come back into the chamber, and you'll be able to open the door. Okay, now with the air out of the chamber, we're able to open the door, and you can take the bottles out. So as you take the bottles out, you want to just double check them and make sure they're sealed. They should be, they shouldn't. Here's one that's not sealed. You can hear that it's not sealed versus one that is sealed. Just to show you how well it's sealed, you can see the amount of vacuum that's in here. That's how easy it is to open it and reuse it. So now with the food being freeze-dried, so there's no moisture in the food, and without any oxygen in there, this food should last over 25 years on the shelf. The great advantage of doing it this way is, for me, is I can see what's in the bottle. When you have the Mylar bags, you could have the bag stacked on a shelf, but you have to go through each bag to see what's in it, or read on the label what's in it. And then once you open the bag, you're gonna if you're not going to use everything in the bag, you've got to put another oxygen tablet in there and reseal it, or everything in the bag will absorb the moisture in the air and go mushy, and you won't be able to preserve it anymore. So the advantage of doing it this way is you can reuse these lids. I've reused them 5, 6, 7 times. I don't know how many times you can reuse them exactly, but they'll last a long time. As long as you don't damage the rubber on the lid, it should just keep resealing. And so you could take a little bit of this product out of the bottle and then put it back in the freeze dryer and reseal it and put it back on the shelf. You don't have to put an oxygen tablet in it or do anything else with it. Okay, so remember, you got to unplug the vacuum pump from the outlet and plug it back into the freeze dryer, and then make sure that your switch is in the on position on the pump. Because when you process the next batch, the freeze dryer is going to send the power to the vacuum pump when it's ready to come on. And if you don't have it plugged in here, it won't work.